Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the French Chamber of Commerce. We're really glad to have you tonight for this new edition of the Industry of the Future Working Group. Tonight, our coordinator, Bruno Lopito from Civeco, has prepared us a very special event about the promise of industrial AI. He will be helped tonight by François Corby from Archetype and also Stéphane Monsalier from System in Motion. Gentlemen, the floor is yours. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Alexandre. So just we'll have a free short presentation, dense presentation, and then there's going to be a joint Q&A at the end. Yeah. And of course, we'll take also questions from online. So the first part, I want to tell you about empowering knowledge workers. Yeah. A few words about me very quickly. The most important thing you have to remember about me is that I got my master's degree in artificial intelligence in 1993. That makes me a dinosaur in the speed in that industry. And that means I've been riding that bandwagon for more than 30 years, and it's been crowded, very crowded in the last 6 months. So why we're talking about knowledge worker? Because I'm going to tell you about generative AI, something that you've heard about. And generative AI is here to empower the knowledge workers. So not the manual workers. And as here Peter Drucker says in his book, The Management Challenges of the 21st Century, which he wrote in 1999, the 20th century was the age of empowering manual workers, of deploying robots and automation and terrorism. But now the 21st century, it's the turn of the knowledge worker. Knowledge workers with their brands, they work with knowledge, they work with information. And this is where generative AI comes into play, the ChatGPT and other elements. So about ChatGPT and large language models altogether, a few misconceptions that we like to clear out before we continue the discussion. Many people think that GPT is a search engine, and many people use it as a search engine to do research. Many people think that ChatGPT and other LLM, they know everything, and many people think that it's creative. But the truth is, it is not a search engine by itself. You can use it in combination in Copilot. Microsoft, for example, you can use it in combination with Bing or Wenshuiyan in combination with Baidu or Kimi. The bright shiny star is also doing search on the internet, but the LLM by itself doesn't have it. It knows everything. Quite the contrary. It doesn't know anything. And creativity is debatable. We believe that whenever you use generative AI, the creativity is on this side of the keyboard. So to help you understand a little bit how LLM is working, we have a very simple, very high-level model to represent what large language models do. Large language models are predictive models, and they do one and only one thing. They are here to predict the next word in a sentence or a paragraph. So if you have the beginning of a sentence, like you see here, I will see you tomorrow at, internally, the large language model has statistics about what is the most likely next word. So you can imagine that you have cards where you have the beginning of a sentence on one side of the card, and on the other side, you have these words with percentage. Now, I can give you a set of cards. And by the way, so GPT has 7 billion of these cards. When we talk about 7 billion parameters, that means GPT has stored internally 7 billion of these cards. But that's the only thing that it does. It's looking at your question, flipping it over, next word, then adding that word to the sentence, get to the next card, flip it over, and finding the next word. Now, I can give you these cards in Swedish. I can give you all the cards with sentences in Swedish. If I give you these cards and you receive a short message in Swedish, SMS on your phone, by using these cards, you can reply to that message in Swedish. Does it mean you speak Swedish? No. You think you speak Swedish at that point? But the funny thing is the person who received the answer will think that you speak Swedish. And this is all the misunderstanding about large language model. Large language models don't understand anything. They are just statistical models that go and apply that algorithm and find the next word in a sentence and the next word and the next word. Yeah. So does it mean we cannot do anything with it? No, we can do things with it. We can do many, many things with it. So in my company, System in Motion, we do all those things with it. And any company, industrial or otherwise, have a large range of use cases that they can use. So if you scan the QR code, and I'll show it later, you can register to our newsletter and you'll receive 250 use cases that you can apply today. Again, these are for knowledge workers. They are not for the people that are working with their hands. They're people working with their brains. So that means people working in maintenance, people working in planning, people working in marketing, people working in management, people who are working with text, who are working with sentences and documents. And this is where you can have those strategical use cases, sales use cases, marketing, maintenance, operation, R&D. These are all the use cases you can do. And we discover new use cases every day. We just stopped the document at 250. All right. So in order for you or your employees or to be able to use properly large language model, and by properly, I mean efficiently, you need to master one skill that is called prompt engineering. So prompt engineering, people thought at the beginning that it would be a job, that we would hire people to do prompt engineering, like we have developers today who are coding. But more than a year after the LLM has been released, we discovered that it's not a job and it shouldn't be a job. It is a skill, and that everybody should get that skill. Because regardless of the department you're working in and regardless of your trade, if you're in marketing, if you're in finance, HR, maintenance, design, architecture, you are the best person to write your prompts, because the business knowledge, the industry knowledge is more important than the technique itself. And the technique is rather easy because you're going to use French, Italian, Chinese, German, English to write your own prompt. You don't need to learn a fancy language. And this is the big revolution of large language model. You have now full control of your computer. In the past, you needed a developer to write some code and compile it and put it on the computer. And you discovered that the developer misunderstood what you wanted. Now you can interact directly with the machine and you have that power by using generative AI. So we have a very simple framework that we've developed that we call the universal framework, that we call the ERCFC framework. This is, if you use this, the quality of your prompt is going to increase tenfold, and the outcome will automatically improve. So examples, sometimes it's easier to show an example than to explain to the machine what you want. Role, it means GPT, ChatGPT and other LLMs, they're really, really good at pretending. So if you want something in marketing, you have to tell GPT as an experienced marketer. If you want some legal advice, as a senior law partner in a law firm. And by giving it that word, it's going to change the way the sentences are structured. It's going to change the vocabulary, because GPT is extremely good at impersonating these people. Finally, context. This is the central piece of the prompt. When we do training, because we do deliver training, including here in the chamber or here in the French chamber, the people who come and participate, their prompts are never give enough context. This is usually the weak part of the prompt. GPT cannot read your mind, so you have to give it exactly the context. And usually the best way to improve the prompt is to give more context to the machine. Formats, this is a way to save you some time. If you want a resume, if you want a summary of a document, and you want a 200-word summary, you say, I want a 200-word summary. That you have exactly the format you want. If you're asking the machine to design, to give you some information or summary, and eventually you want to send it as an email, tell it directly in the same prompt, I want an email. Write an email. And command, this is, again, we're not here to chat with the machine. Because it's called ChatGPT, many people think that you have a discussion with GPT. This is not the most efficient way. We want to give a command to the machine, an order, and get the result immediately. So by using the ERCFC framework, you can improve the quality of the output, and you can save a lot of time as knowledge workers. So we include this into what we call the generative AI's value stack. So prompt engineering are actually at this level, at the use case level, where we're talking individual task. You have to write an email. You want to read an article. You have to do a summary of an article for your boss. You do some research. You find 5 documents and you want to summarize it. You want to create a PPT and you want the outline. So these are individual tasks. But there's a more fundamental problem that we've discovered in the company when we started to implement large language model, which is knowledge management. In order for this to work, you need a lot of context. And you actually need context from your own company. And you want to do it in a safe way. And we get into what we call the knowledge management dilemma. The knowledge management dilemma is you can structure information in 2 ways. you can make it very structured, very easy for the machine to understand. We call it a database, but humans don't like to put things in database. Everybody hates their CRM, everybody hates their ERP. Yeah. Or you can put it in a way that humans like, which is storytelling. But then the machine doesn't know how to process that. So we can use generative AI so that humans do what they like. They put everything in PPT and documents. They tell stories and stories and stories. And we use generative AI to make sense of all of that. And generative AI can read text. They can understand images. But then if you put a footnote, they don't know it's part of the text. They don't know how to read table. Oops, sorry, lost that. They don't know how to read table. They don't know how to read Excel files. So we have to help making sense of all of that, including blueprint, voice, and databases and spreadsheets. Yeah. This is what we mean by knowledge management, and this is the thing we want to solve. And my slide has disappeared again. All right. So if we can solve knowledge management and we have individual use cases, the next step is to include workflows. So by using prompt engineering, you can do tasks one by one. But now we're going to look at what it looks like when we want to chain large language model, and we want to go from A to G or A to M. The example is, how do you write a white paper? Usually you do research by hand, you do a summary, you find your outline. Now you can do it in 6 steps, and you can use generative AI at every step. So first you find a document that has the trend. So these are documents about architecture, so the engineering and construction industry that I found on the internet. And I can use GPT to ask it, what are the key trends? And I'm choosing one trend. I choose the trend of sustainability. I can use GPT again, and you have the prompt at the top to give me the outline of my white paper. And then one by one, for every title, I can use Copilot, or I can use another RAG technology to write the article for me. This one, very important. I should not do it because I'm not an expert in the topic. This should be done by an expert who know what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. I'm going to change it because I want to send my own message. But when I'm doing this, I'm making spelling mistakes and I'm adding grammar errors. So I'm using large language again to clean my text because it's very good at correcting and copywriting. Then I'm using another type of generative AI to generate the cover of my white paper. And finally, I'm using generative AI to find a good title because it has to be a clickbait that people will like. And because for creativity use cases, I want 10. Because if I ask 1, I'm not sure it's the best one. So I'm asking for 10. Maybe I like 3, 7, and 8. And I'm going to do another round, like give me more like 3, 7, and 8. So now we have our knowledge. All the company knowledge have been implemented. I have my use cases. I know how to execute individual tasks and workflows. Next, very quickly, I'm going to put the brands into the machine. So the next step for companies, and very few companies are there yet, is going to be to integrate the LLM with the classical IT. So put the brands into the machine. This is very technical, and you just need to trust us. It's going to work. And finally, the part that I'm most interested in is once we've done all of that, now we're ready to create new business models. And of course, I'm going to use GPT to create new business model for an architecture firm. That's the use case that I choose for today. So I want to go from, so we have this technology, we have the LLM, we have the infrastructure. What are the business models that we can build on top of it? And to represent that business model, I want to build a business canvas. This is the easiest way. This is the most common way that we represent business model because it has many, many components in there that make sense. So very quickly, because I don't want to tell you all the secrets, we're going to do it in 5 steps. First steps, what is the technology enabler? Now that we have LLMs, what are the things we can do that we couldn't do before? Now we can have, customer can have unique digital experience. What is the barrier that we've removed? That unique experience is now scalable. In the service industry, so as architecture or IT firms or maintenance firms, if we want to give VIP service, we need to have more people if we have more customers. Now we can scale things. Now, what does it mean? And you have the prompts at the bottom. Later, when we share the PDF, you can test it yourself. So now in the construction industry, what will be scalable experience using generative AI? And it's telling me generative AI will help architects in creative and innovative design. The use case is multiple design options based on specific parameters. That means generative AI will be able to generate more options faster than humans. Then I have to go through a few more steps to get to my business models. I have to decide, I have other prompts to decide what are the products, what would be the business model. And finally, I put everything together So I put everything together in a prompt. These are the services that I want to generate. This is the revenue model. And I'm asking it, remember, ERCFC, the format. So the format I'm using is business canvas. And just by asking it to give business canvas, it's going to give me all these items sorted by all these categories, and I can fill that in. Once you're used to it, you can do this in half an hour. If you want to start, if you have to multiple startup to launch and you want to create your deck, it becomes really, really, really fast to generate those business canvas and add those ideas, structure the information. So this is how we see the impact of generative AI in architecture, maintenance, and industrial companies. Take care of the knowledge. Use generative AI to make sense of all those documents that are good for humans but bad for the machine. Accelerate individual tasks. Chain those tasks into workflows. Connect it to the old systems that are used by the plant, the factories, or the service company. And finally, unlock the ability to create new business models that were not possible before the invention of generative AI. Now I'm going to give the floor to my friend for the next part.
Hello, everyone. Thank you to join the event tonight. Unlock the promise of AI in architecture. A large topic. Of course, when we open this topic, we can have some question. Until where the AI can go, and if AI will replace the human in the near future, and architects and engineers in the near future. I'm going to answer to this question at the end of the presentation. First of all, what represents AI in architecture today? Just few numbers. In terms of investments for architecture and construction, in 2020, it was around 2 billion for 2020. Today, we are around 10 billion, and in 2030, we'll be around 63 billion for architecture and construction. If we are looking at global markets, in 2020, 63, today 120 billion, and in 2030, difficult to really know, but it will be around 500 to 1,000 billion. So just to understand like the quick evolution and the quick increase that AI will be in our work process. In terms of architecture itself, in our workflow every day. For the design time, we can already today, when we use AI, when I'm thinking about doing our concept and more, we can reduce around 40% of our time in the project. In terms of time planning, okay, or I'm gonna organize my sequence in my work, or I'm gonna organize my teams in my works. Around 30% of time can be gained due to the AI. In terms of project management, 25%. Project management, I'm thinking about coordination, about how I'm gonna detect more quickly the clash in my project. I'm thinking also about BIM management. Okay. Different type of AI that we use already every day. Machine learning. So machine learning, you're gonna take a decision with the data that he has. Okay, so some example, medical diagnostic. I take a pictures of a plants, and he can tell me what the issue he has. So I'm gonna need to put more water or more sun in my plants. Deep learning. So it's a bit same than machine learning, but it will go more deeply in the answer. Okay, so autonomous driving, natural language processing, generative AI. Generative AI as a ChatGPT is a generative AI. I'm gonna ask him a question. He's gonna give me an answer. Okay, generative design. It's a more deep generative AI. So we're gonna go more deeply in the answer. For example, architectural layouts, you're gonna help me to give a proposal or to give me the best proposal in my architectural layout. Sorry. How we use AI today in Archetype in different domains. Quickly, I'm gonna present in the next pages. Design optimization. So I'm gonna use AI to go faster in my concept design. Technical refinements. AI gonna help me to analyze some sites, for example, and you're gonna give me some help to produce the best, let's say the best building, okay? To use the best characteristic of my site. BIM optimization, of course, I'm gonna present in the next pages, but AI will help me to know the best way to implement, for example, my MEP system or my materials, okay? And cost estimation, schedule optimization, energy analysis. This, we are starting to use it in our work process. Okay, some example of design optimization with AI. Yesterday, if my clients asked me to propose to him a concept, I needed few days to do it, okay? Today, if my clients call me in the morning and ask me, okay, François, can you give me a concept? I have an idea, I want to do this project, I have this budget, I have this surface. In a day, almost, I will propose to him a concept, okay, with a model, with analysis, and so on. Initially, as every concept, I start with some sketches, okay? It's where I'm gonna give my personal intention in the project, okay? So this, for example, it's an office building, okay, with a special shapes on the facade. With AI, yesterday, I needed to use Photoshop to take some hours to work on it, to bring my sky, to bring my trees, to implement some material for my facade. Today with Photoshop, for example, we have tools on it, AI tools. I write my prompt, okay? I write what I want. It's me, I choose. You're gonna bring directly on my sketch my metal facade, my curtain walls, my trees, etc., etc. The next step, very quickly, it's here. I'm gonna use another AI software. There is a lot today. This one is LookX AI. So here, I give to him my sketch. I choose my prompt, okay? So for example, here, modern office building, modern architecture, first person view, perspective view, etc., etc. And very quickly, in a few minutes, you're gonna give me a 3D model. Again, yesterday, to produce this type of building, I needed days to do it, okay? Today, my clients call me in the morning, end of the evening, I can give him my concept, okay? And the other interesting, it's I can produce a lot of proposal, okay? Same, in few minutes, I change my prompt, and I can produce very quickly pictures and renders, okay? Another example, same process, I start with a sketch. Here it's for a skyscraper in Europe, in Milan. I do my sketch, okay? Here I decided to change a bit the way. So I created a very, very, very simple volume. In the next step, I do my prompt, okay? It's me again, I choose my prompt. Following also the recommendation of my clients. And in a minute, I can have a 3D model, a pictures. I can organize quickly my meeting with the clients, and we can talk directly, and we don't have to wait days and weeks before to present the concept. To resume what I said in terms of time, hand sketch, this doesn't change. Hand sketch is what? It's my personal intention as an architect, my personal feeling, my personal experience. That's, and of course, what I receive as information from my clients, or I'm gonna start my project. Okay, so this doesn't change before or today or in the future. To enhance the sketch, as I said before, it was a half day almost to update with Photoshop to work on it. Today, in 10 minutes, I give my instruction to the AI software, and I can have quickly my hand sketch optimized. 3D renders, same. Before it was days and days. It was long. Sometimes you don't have the right texture. Sometimes you don't have the right software, or etc. etc. Today, in few minutes and plus unlimited alternative I can have. So the time saved, it's days. Another thing that we use today with AI and in our project, it's the site analysis. Same. Before, it was a long time to have all the information of the site. If we are talking about the sun, if we are talking about the noise, if we are talking about the wind effect on the facade. Today with AI, I bring my model on it. I bring my needs, okay? And the AI software can give me very quickly all the information that I need. And what to do, it can propose to me a different shape or different volume of my building to use the best characteristic of my site. Beam optimization. This is a very important thing in architecture. What is BIM? Very quickly, BIM is, let's say, different experts on a project. So we have architects, engineers, structure, cost management, working on a unique model, 3D model. Okay. Today with BIM, you're gonna help me, okay, to, for example, to do my coordination on the best way possible. Okay. What is coordination in architecture? It's when you put together, let's say, structure, architecture, and all the techniques. Okay, you're gonna help me to recognize and to see where I can have some clashes, for example, and or I can avoid these clashes. Okay, so this is very efficient and important, and I can save a lot of time with it. Possibility and today limits of AI. As we have seen just before, AI possibility in terms of design optimization, efficiency, sustainability, is gonna help me a lot, and I'm gonna save a lot of time to do my architecture itself, my design, to check the efficiency and sustainability, to know the best options that I can do in my project. Okay. Today's limit of AI. AI have some limits, of course. It doesn't know my feeling. It doesn't know my architecture experience. It doesn't know the relation that I have with my clients. For example, if I have a visit with my client of a factory, or if I had a dinner with him, it doesn't know what he told me and the feeling that I have according to this discussion, and or I can bring it in the concept, in the project. Okay. So what is very important, it's the role and the complementary role of human in a project. As we have seen in the previous example, every time it's me who decide the architecture. It's me who decide the concept. It's me that I bring my experience in the project. It's not the AI. So let's answer to the question, okay? If AI will replace architect and engineer in the near future? No, and I don't think so. But our tools, yes. How we used our software before is totally different. How we're gonna use it today and tomorrow. Okay, we have seen with design software, architects, Revit, AutoCAD, and so on. Today we have AI tools on it, and the previous way how we use this software, it's really the past. Okay. Other reasons, it's our work still contain very high level of complexity. Okay, it's a project. It's not we put some information in a machine and it gives me all the projects already done. Okay, there is a lot of steps in a project, a lot of communication with the clients, a lot of people in a project. So AI cannot do everything. Okay. And of course, humans are needed in the decision making. It's me, I decide how to organize my projects. It's me, I decide how I organize my step in a project. So AI cannot replace that. Of course, people who use AI will replace people who don't use AI. And we can see already today, if someone needs 2 weeks to produce a concept, for example, me, my company, are gonna need 1 day to do it. Okay. So of course, there is a lot of chance that a potential client will prefer to work with my company or another company who use AI than someone needs a lot of time to answer to the needs of the client. A quick introduction of Archetype Y. So Archetype Y, it's the signature studio of Archetype Group that I'm going to show you in the next page. It's here that we are talking about creativity, we are talking about architecture, we are talking about the new way to work in our projects. We implement the AI in our project. It's here that we decide about creativity. Archetype Y, it's a part of Archetype Group. Okay, in Archetype Group, we have 2 main branches: Archetype Y, as I already presented, Archetype Industry. We are specialized in industry project, chemical, and so on, and Archetype Reality, specialized in real estate and hospitality. Archetype, we manage project A to Z, to the concept, to the architecture, and to the project management with our engineer and structural experts. Thank you.
Thanks for this. I want to thank my the previous speakers. And I think I'm going to try to take this one step further and bring us into the Q&A. Thanks all of you for being here. And I think online we have about as many people. We have about as many people online as we have in the room. So good to have all of you. I'm Bruno. I'm the CEO of this company, Civeco China. We celebrate our 20 years. We are not getting younger, and we're also known under the name Bluebee Technologies. Bluebee being the name of our software tools. That's why we have this Bluebee girl. By the way, I'm the one who designed a nice cover with the giant robots that attracted you to this event. Of course, I used AI with clever prompting. I believe I was quite happy with the results. This is not using AI, but I think it's a little bit more friendly. So I will talk about maintenance, industrial maintenance. So I'm taking this discussion one step further from construction to maintenance. Few words, and I will try to keep an eye on my notes so I don't exceed my time. Just a few words about the company. So Civeco China, we work with industrial clients to optimize their maintenance, to optimize how they manage their assets, their equipment. We've been in this business for 20 years, as I say, 20 years in China. We have lots of clients, and we use technology. We design, we develop, and we use digital technology to achieve our purpose of optimizing maintenance. So as part of our own digital tools, we use AI. Right. In our solution map, the Bluebee solution map, I'm not going to present this, but we have something called machine learning. Use this. Machine learning, okay, that's AI. We have something called predictive maintenance. And probably for most of you, you will think it's related to AI as well. So as part of our own digital solutions, we use AI to some extent. I will talk about this. And again, I won't present our solution, but it's by looking at nice screenshots and beautiful pictures. I want to emphasize the idea that the users, the people, the maintenance people working in the plants, and I think Stefan was talking about knowledge workers versus blue collars. But most of us are blue collars in the plants. We have to interact with the digital solutions. So our solutions are very mobile driven for the workers. And this is what I would say managers would use. You know, managers, people who are busy, they cannot learn complex software, so they need something easy and graphical, intuitive. So I'll be coming back to this topic a little bit. I'm not here to present our solution. By the way, to celebrate our 20 years in China, we just released a new product, Blueby On. Anyway, we just announced it recently, so I wanted to do this advertisement. It's the cross-platform app. You can actually use our system in a WeChat Mini app. We've had a WeChat Mini app since 2016, I think, long time, but this is a new version. And you can use it on DingDing, you can use it on WeCom, WeChat Enterprise, and so on. Anyway, advertisement. So what we're talking about when we talk about optimizing maintenance, plant life cycle, a lot of things are not optimized in maintenance. I will not explain this. And we can actually use, perhaps we can use AI to support improvement throughout the life cycle of your assets from construction. I won't talk much about construction, but the handover between construction and maintenance and the 20 years, 30 years of operating life of your plant and asset. And we could use AI to maybe predict failure and maybe prevent technical failure. We could use AI or digital technology in general, our technology is Blueby, to optimize resources, optimize the way you manage your maintenance, optimize maybe your purchasing and so on. And which I call document, facilitate the handover between construction and maintenance and dealing with all the technical documentation that you collect or you try to collect or you don't collect in the construction phase and delivering this documentation to the maintenance team. So I'll be looking at these three topics by using practical cases, practical experience. I will do it very fast, but I try to emphasize key points. And if some of you are interested in more technical details, feel free to then discuss with me in the Q&A or later. Predict. So predictive maintenance, you've probably heard a lot about this. When there was all the hype about IoT before COVID, and everybody was doing IoT. We were talking about startups with Stefan before we started. So many startups got created, people doing IoT. Everybody could do IoT, and they would revolutionize everything. And the first thing, so many people told me, the low-hanging fruit is predictive maintenance, and there'll be no more breakdown because they use this beautiful IoT and then IoT plus AI. So everybody's talking about predictive maintenance. So let me use this as the first case. Predictive maintenance relies on data from the machine. Well, that's IoT. That's data from sensors. Okay, but perhaps also data from or information input from people, and maybe also decisions from people. Okay, and this is technology in the middle. Here I emphasize something called CASM and something called Predict. It's one of our partner companies. So we have our own technology, but in some cases, we use a plugin from another supplier. And I picked Predict because today I wanted to actually emphasize some of our partners. So that's why you see this brand name. And for the two other cases, you will also see other partners. So let me go a bit deeper into this to say one thing, first of all. And one reason why so many IoT projects that promised so much never worked past the pilots or the proof of concept, and why so many IoT companies went bankrupt in the last few years. One reason is why predictive maintenance is not something that is totally separate or independent from what we call the maintenance strategy, which includes all the traditional maintenance methods. You do corrective maintenance for certain items. For chairs, for example, I'm not going to put sensors on my chairs, because it's a low-cost item. I will repair it when it's broken. That's corrective maintenance. Sounds boring, but that's a maintenance strategy. For other items, I will do regular preventive maintenance. I will check regularly if it's still working. I will maybe, that's kind of inspection, or I will maybe change a part, clean a filter once in a while. That's preventive maintenance. Sounds very boring, but this is a very important strategy for maintenance. Predictive maintenance is another type of preventive maintenance. Okay, and so the way you develop a predictive maintenance program, where you put sensor to measure what, and what are you going to do when the value is this or that, is what requires a lot of thinking, and this is part of the maintenance strategy. So I don't go into details of all the relationship here, but it's not, again, predictive maintenance is not just about putting sensors and a beautiful AI tool. It's very much part of how you think and how you want to run your plants. Then I go into an example here with a screenshot from our software. This is in a biomass plant, a small power plant, small capacity power plant using biomass as a fuel. This is a dashboard from the system. I want to explore this a little bit. Here you see data from sensors. Okay, it says from historian, basically data from sensors for pumps showing certain parameters. I don't explain this too much, and so you use this, to kind of try to predict behavior and problems. Nothing new, actually. We have been doing this for over 20 years, just like Stefan was studied artificial intelligence. You graduated in 93. You're older than me, huh? I graduated in 96. Young man. Or maybe you skipped some grades because you were such a good student. I actually specialized in condition monitoring, predictive maintenance. I studied that 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago. So nothing new, actually. And we can use AI to help with this, but mostly we use good old algorithm. And I can say it's AI because nowadays you can say whatever you want. Okay, so that's the part here. And then you have another type of data here, which is data from the computerized maintenance management system, from the maintenance database, from our type of systems, or maybe you use SAP PM, where you have the history of breakdown in your facility, you have the maintenance plans, and maybe records of whether maintenance was done or not. Hopefully you have such records and other KPIs. And here in the system, in our system, you can look at both together to make decisions. So you see something happening that maybe indicates it might go wrong, but you need context to make a judgment. And at some point, someone will look at it and make a decision. Okay, and here you can go further and look at actual pictures from inspections that maybe workers have done on their mobile. So information in context. So not just from IoT. So that's what we can do in the system. And in this example, I have a result of by doing this analysis. So with behind this AI tool to process data and to look at some of the context, but then of course human decision in the end, we realized that instead of doing regular preventive maintenance, quite costly regular preventive maintenance that requires shutdown of the plant, and that required some expertise and changing some parts, some cost, instead of doing it every 17 weeks, we could almost double the time, the interval, saving a lot of money without any negative impact on operation. So we made that decision with the clients to reduce the frequency of certain jobs. And immediately there was a saving in maintenance costs, basically worth, in this case, around 4 million RMB per year. Interesting, right? So that's what we can do with predictive maintenance. Now, we could do this before everybody starts talking about AI, And it was a type of AI. Now technology is a little bit better, a little bit easier, a little bit cheaper. So we can do it better than before, but actually it's not something totally new. So it's not magic. It's not like you plug in and then it's not like this. It requires data from machines and from people. One challenge when it comes to data from people is that it should be in some kind of database, what we call a CMMS, a computerized maintenance management system. Usually such systems don't contain much data. And some of you in big companies may be using something like SAP PM. Most SAP PM database in theory should contain all this data. In practice, most data is missing. More than 50% of the data you need is not there. So that's a challenge. This is the main practical challenge we have when we use such approach. Data is missing. It has to be part of a maintenance strategy based on the business objectives of the company, and it requires specific know-how. It's not just some IT guys buy a beautiful system, plug it in, magic. No, it requires specialized know-how, industrial know-how. As I said, some of us have been doing this for a long, long time, and technological know-how as well, and technological tools. And services. It's not just a system. You need to work on it. But the ROI can be very good. So as I said, a lot of IoT projects failed because they were missing all this. Not because they were missing AI, mostly because they were missing these other things. But when done well, you can get very good ROI, like in my example. I go a little bit faster. Second case, optimization. Optimization, what's that? I have a case from Zhongshan Water, a big water company in Zhongshan, South China, using our systems for many years, accumulating a lot of data. Accumulating a lot of data because their technicians are using our system to carry out inspections on the water systems in the plants, to do their maintenance. Everything they do, they have the mobile. They record pictures of the problem. They record structured data of what problem, why the problem, what they did. So that's big data. We have a lot of data in such a system. It's a big company, a lot of users, technicians using the system to do their daily job, a lot of data. Some of it from sensors, but most of it from people. We did, then realizing we had so much data, we worked with the university, a partnership between Shanghai University and French Universities of Technology. We have a professor here. We have a representative of it. Is good to have you. We took students to work on this. They worked on they used a AI plugin to take data from our database to optimize the position of the technical teams within the city. Okay, big water company. You have assets all over the city. You don't have people everywhere, so you need to position people in certain offices and workshops. So we actually had students to work on this using AI tools, and they proposed to reposition some of the teams. And the customer did. And that was a good story. Using AI, this was more than 5 years ago. So it's nothing very new. So this works well for us when you have super large big data, and a lot of our customers have a lot of data for the reasons I mentioned. Okay, we can use open source tool. In this case, we use open source tool, Spark ML, Apache Spark ML. It's open source tool. It can easily plug into our system because we also based on open source database and platform. It requires know-how, our industrial know-how in this case, and the students' expertise in data science. Okay, and one problem I wrote it like this. We told the client, you have very good results, very good optimization. They were very happy, give us money and we do more. And because we did it for free as a kind of academic project, and we like to do a lot of things. We like to work for free. We tried to develop a business around it. It never worked. Our business development failure or anyway, it's hard to sell. And in the end, you do a project like this, optimization, the client, even our own people might feel, hey, we could have done it without the tool. We could have done it anyway. So it's a bit tricky for us. The commercial value of that is, there's value, but we haven't managed to make it a business. So you see, I discussed this very openly with you. Last, documentation. So what's that? When you build a plant, you have a lot of documentation, drawings, BIM models, manuals, O&M manuals for different machines, different suppliers, all kind of things. And I skipped this one. This data is complex, it's interrelated. You have a number of pumps in your buildings, and compressors and stuff, and all kind of items in your buildings. And then you have spare parts related to them, and then you have certain technical documentation, maintenance instructions. All this data is interrelated. So it's complex data, but usually you get it in the form of documents. So that's difficult. And one thing that is especially difficult is maintenance instructions. You would like to have this in a system, in our system, in the maintenance management system, work instructions, what should be done, when, which spare part will be used, how often you change the filter. So you could put this data in a database and use the system for automatic planning. That's what we do with our systems. But the data usually get it in an equipment manual, equipment O&M manual, which is, if you're lucky, it's a PDF file. And it's written in a certain way, and another supplier will write it another way. If you're not lucky, you get paper. And in many cases in China, it's very hard to get the documentation, or you don't get it on time. So it's difficult to actually, starting maybe from PDF, if you're lucky, to actually extract this data. It's usually manual labor. So we have an example here doing this for Arkema plants in China and in Malaysia, where we did this for the so-called functional locations, and working from PNID drawings. And this is usually a very manual labor. So we did it not using AI, but we used automation tools. And when we did this, we beat the competitor because I think we were 30% cheaper, because we were much more efficient. And I think we were probably, in terms of time spent on a project, we would probably spend 80% less time than the competitor. So we delivered fast, we were cheaper, and we made good money. That's an example. That was before AI. Now the question comes, and we do even bigger projects where there's a lot of technical documentation. Usually we don't like to do this because it's so time consuming, even using automation tools. And these documents, they all look different. So in this example, the information about the maintenance plan is written like this. You have to find it somewhere. It's written in a certain way. The vocabulary may be different. The structure is different. And another supplier, they write totally differently. It's in annex. You have to refer to something. It's totally different vocabulary. They talk about frequency here. They talk about interval. It takes manual expertise, manual work, and manual expertise to go and extract data from this. So we thought we could use AI. And this is an example of using generative AI, actually using OpenAI, ChatGPT, to extract data from lots of documents, okay? And I find where is the data, extract it, process it, verify it to reduce manual work. And this is new for us. So far the work we had done, like in Arkema, was dealing with technical data, not the maintenance instructions. This was so hard. Now we are able to use tools for this. So we work with a partner that helps with the tool. It's basically based, it's a bit of what I think what Stefan said, but we use, the core of this is ChatGPT. But then of course, there's something before and after. And there's a business understanding, the know-how that we inject in this. And what we have done so far is we have done this on a small number of documents. We have not used it in a commercial project yet. We are going to do it in a project that we are going to sign, cross fingers, maybe next week. A project we hope to sign soon, where we have this kind of job of preparing the database for the clients. And we intend to use this on a large scale for that project. It's a water treatment plant under construction. Okay. So, but based on the test we have done so far, I mean, you cannot just use ChatGPT and do some clever prompting and throw your documents in there. You get very low accuracy. We estimate 70% accuracy on this kind of documentation. You cannot use the output. There's so many mistakes. You can do nothing with it. You give this to the maintenance people, they would not touch such an inaccurate database. It's impossible. But by playing around and multiple iterations, we reach 95, 100% accuracy, which is better than manual accuracy. This is our estimate of manual accuracy. This depends a lot on who's doing it. You know, you have an engineer, he's lazy, he's not careful, you know, low accuracy. You have a guy who's very senior, very hardworking, you get very high accuracy, but it costs you a lot of money. The guy better be doing something else. So we get similar level of accuracy, but it's so much faster. So the saving in, did I write somewhere the savings? We estimated the savings. I didn't write it. We estimate quite large savings. Here it was there. We estimate 95% labor reduction. We'll see. But I think it's quite accurate based on our experience using automation tools before. Yes, that's quite possible. So that's what I wanted to say. I conclude. In our view, our practice, AI is definitely not magical. It's already useful, not just to make beautiful pictures and marketing document like a white paper. We actually already use it, so it's good. Shortcomings or challenges in our field, lack of data in systems like SAP PM. Most maintenance database we see is garbage, not useful. We do such projects, so our database is our job, our better quality. So when it's our client, our database, we can do things like we did in Zhongshan Water. Then of course you need to bring know-how and services. If your customer think it's just a tool and then you should just pay for a tool, it cannot work. You need a customer that can pay for service. And a challenge I have when dealing with this, because I'm selling a mix of service and technology, is I'm facing IT people sometimes. That's maybe a question I want to raise to the audience. If I'm facing IT people, then I'm facing industrial people, the maintenance manager, the plant manager. And my delivery is a mix of IT and engineering services. And I need both. I cannot just do engineering services. I cannot just give you a beautiful IT tool because it won't work. I have a challenge of there's a cooperation or understanding between these two group of people who quite often in many companies, some of you come from big multinationals, sometimes these people will fight each other, and the IT guy will have an idea to use AI, and it's going to be like, and then the engineer and the engineers don't trust that. So it's related to the commercial challenge that I face. So we see this cooperation between IT and industrial teams as one of the practical challenge. We are writing, not using AI, but with the help of AI, we are writing a white paper on AI for maintenance, which will develop some of these ideas and case studies. Is under preparation. We've done an ESG white paper recently. It's a totally different topic. But that's what I wanted to say. So to try to illustrate this topic, and that's also thanks. And we are available. So we come to the end of these presentations, and we are available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
So I have a quick comment. I study OT, did all my work in IT, and I happen to work in an industrial company. So what you said, I know what it is, especially knowing that I'm breaching both because I do cybersecurity. So I have to convince my colleagues from IT that it's important, and I have even more challenges with my colleagues from OT. So I don't have a magical answer to you. The only thing that I would say is we can discuss that later, but I'm quite expensive. The only way I have to approach it is we need people to understand it that it's two different approach. If you give me 2 seconds, I remember my previous boss told me I walked in the office and my boss asked me, "Oh, why do we have to patch every month?" And I say, well, because there is mistake in the code and it's normal to reboot and stuff like that. And my boss looked at me and say, "How often do you reboot a PLC?" And I was dumbfounded because I know the answer never. Therefore, so I would say to get what you want to do, it's more getting our colleagues from OT, number one, to understand that they do IT, because there's a big shift that has happened in OT, it's IP. The day we start putting things on the network, you cannot say anymore that you're not doing IT. You have to understand IT. And then for IT people, the only solution I found was what I went through is one day somebody took me and kicked me in the butt and I had to live in the factory. And it opens your eyes.
Cannot kick our customers' butts. So sometimes we do, but it usually doesn't work very well.
Okay, we received a question online. How reliable are AI outputs in industrial usage? I guess this question may be for Bruno and François. Stéphane may answer if he wants to, of course.
In terms of industrial usage, so well, if I understand well the question, with AI, as it was presented just before, we can analyze a lot of data in real quick time. So, for example, just to give an example to answer to this question, with AI today, I can give to the software the type of process that I have in the industry, the type of machine, the type of quantity that this machine can produce, and quickly you're gonna give me the different process or the different surface that I need or the different volume that I need in my rooms to bring this type of machine and to answer to the request of it.
To complement this answer, in my two of my cases here that I presented in the prediction cases, my example with pumps being well-known objects in a process that we know well because we studied it, and so if you have people knowing the context and using the right tools, the accuracy is very high. So the accuracy is very high, but then there's if you do this and this and this and this, if you just plug in a tool and then let it run, maybe you have the wrong model, basically the wrong model for your pump. You get results that makes no sense, and if the users don't see that it makes no sense, you're in trouble, right? In my other example, the document handling, transferring data, extracting data from O&M manuals with PDF files into a structured database. As I said, the accuracy can be equal or higher than human accuracy. But then you still need to apply some form of quality control by real experts who have the eye for such things. And that's a very, very special skill. And you still need to do this quality control because this is data you're going to rely on to manage your plant. So again, high accuracy, and if you do this and this and that. And here's the challenge, I think.
When we're talking about AI and accuracy of the output, you need to make a decision on the scale. If you want AI to be extremely accurate, that means, let's say, predictive models. That means very clean data and super narrow AI, meaning you train a deep learning model to do one and only one task. Then you get great level of accuracy and you can test it. Now, if you move on the other side of the scale, and if we're looking at generative AI or very generic model like ChatGPT, then you get way much more openness and creativity, and you can do way much more things. So this RO is this AI is way wider, but then you don't control the outputs, and you have a lot of inaccuracy, and then you don't control it too much. So it's really where do you want to put the cursor on your scale. If you want extremely high level of accuracy, that means very clean data, and then you'll have one model for one problem, second model for second model. So you have to do it for each one of your problems that you have in your plant. If you want something more flexible and more generic, then unfortunately the level of reliability will go down. So it's really an active decision on where you want to be on that scale. Questions in the room?
Question for Archetype. What can the software that you are using with AI, is it, did you need to source specific AI software, or is it an evolution of the software you were using? And so do you need to do active search, or do you go with the flow of your providers?
Okay, these software that they are only specialized in AI and they are new. Okay, but if I take example of Revit or AutoCAD, in the new version, you have now tools of AI. Okay, so it's an evolution of software today, and the data are already on the software. The software is connected, so you can just before I presented a site analysis. Okay, the name is Autodesk Forma. Okay, Autodesk Forma, it already has all the data and the information of the site. Okay, in terms of sun, sound, and so on. After, when I bring my model on it, he's doing his work and he proposed me different shape or different volume or different strategy to use the best way my site, or to avoid some issue that I can have in my site. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Stéphane, I'm sorry, the question is for you. You mentioned, you made a dichotomy between knowledge workers and blue collar. As it was mentioned, I mean, I am not as senior as you are, guys, but I did work in GMAO, and so today in our factories we have machine learning, we have deep learning, and all that are encompassed in the machine. And if I get you to work in one of our factory today, all our blue collars are working in front of a computer. Therefore, what do you see as, how could AI, and whether it is a LLM or other things, be an asset for those people that are today working most of the time in front of a computer?
So generative AI, and in particular LLMs, they are good at unstructured data. By unstructured data, we mean basically not text, language, right? So as long as you have structured data, like tabular data that are made of numbers and categories, then this is the old AI. This is predictive analytics or any kind of traditional machine learning. Yeah. Then my whole presentation was on generative AI and on the things that we can do now that we have large language models and we have image generation and video generation, which are managing those unstructured data. So those manual workers, if they need to write a report, if they need to generate a report, if they have to do literature, if they have to do a work order on an incident, if they have to do root cause analysis, but it needs to come out as text, then generative AI can help. If they get a huge manual, the way Bruno showed it, and this is the huge maintenance model, their maintenance manual is as thick as that, and they have to flip through it, and it doesn't work as keyword search, then they can use generative AI to do semantic search. As long as there's text, the LLM can help, either generation or semantic search of finding exactly the right information in a very large book. So this is what LLM is doing. Again, LLM only works on language. That's the thing. That's basically they're only manipulating language. So literature to read or to write.
Well, thank you to all the speaker. I think that was the word of the end for tonight. Thanks everyone for joining us here. I mean, physically, but also the people who join online the event. For people on site, we can further discuss, and you can also ask other questions if you wish to our awesome speakers tonight around a glass of wine. And for the online participant, well, we meet you again to our upcoming events. Thanks everyone. Food will be included as well, Bruno. Don't be worried. Thank you.